We've got NBA basketball in store for you here in Houston, Texas, the home of the Rockets, live on 2K Sports. We've got some terrific NBA action in store for you today with Greg Anthony, Chris Webber, and David Aldridge, Kevin Harlan. And joining us tonight, a man who once said he will never write another traditional sports column. Please don't say that so, Bill Simmons. Don't say that.
Well, now you just have to tweet. You need 280 characters, and you can pretend you're a writer.
What do you think of social media?
I actually think for basketball it's been a huge advantage. And it hasn't been a huge advantage for a lot of other things, but I think it's made basketball a lot more fun. I do worry, though, sometimes that people are just watching their Twitter feed over the games. I still think there's an advantage for people who actually are watching what's going on versus watching people's reactions to what's going on.
Interesting. This game in Houston marks the start of a homestand for the Rockets. They've put it all together over the course of the last 7 games. They've only had 1 loss over that span.
And you know, Houston, this happens every year. A team outperforms expectations early. You wonder, is this just an anomaly or is this something they can sustain?
Well, we're seeing the chemistry right now. Whatever this team may lack in readiness or talent, they make up for it by playing for each other.
And with tip-off coming up, we've got just enough time to hear from our good friend David Aldridge on the sideline. D.A., take it away.
Well, guys, Kristaps Porzingis has drawn comparisons to Dirk Nowitzki, and it sounds like Dirk is a fan. He says of Porzingis, he's long, athletic, tough. He has touch. He can put it on the floor. He is for real. Kevin?
And Porzingis, D.A., a good 3 inches taller than Dirk. He's a very unique talent for sure. When we think about Porzingis, some consider him the heir apparent to Dirk Nowitzki as the best big man to come from Europe. Certainly the potential is there, would you think?
Now they're playing together.
The potential's there. The knee injury really worries me. I don't like when the tall guys get injured, and it's something we've seen my whole life as a basketball fan, whether it's been Yao Ming, Bill Walton, Ilgauskas. I think the technology is better now. I love the way he was playing before he got hurt. He was 30 a night there for 6 weeks at one point. And his inside-outside game, he's the perfect stretch 5 because on offense he can be 25 feet away from the basket. On defense he can protect the rim. I really worry about the Knicks, though, and just how much bad luck that team's had. And I think any player should be nervous to be in the Knicks. Try to get traded, Porzingis.
And he did.
So we'll look at our starters for the Knicks. We've got DeMarcus Cousins, a captain out there. And there's Porzingis, and it's Knox in at the 3.
Yeah, still moving a little bit when he set that screen. You'll argue that he was set, but I really didn't think so.
I think you'll probably see more arguments on those illegal screen calls than just about any other play. Maybe the charge call, but guys never think they're moving.
Now here's Paul. Back to Jones, and Jones with the stuff.
Exceptional instincts from the clever guard Paul. Reading the D, making the right pass.
Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. Down low. Knox misses. And so it's Jones. He'll bring it up for the Houston Rockets.
I didn't understand why he said Knox right there. Why would you not send Porzingis? He was waiting for him.
Look at the triple.
And he didn't punish them for the weak coverage there, but they can't count on him to continue missing.
Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. Broke loose and taken away by Paul. And we're about a minute and a half into the first quarter. Capella inside. He's guarded by Cousins. And he makes the bucket, gets the whistle, and now a three-point play chance here for him. And that sends Clint Capella to the free throw line. It's on DeMarcus Cousins. Bill, one shot to win a game. You can pick any player. Who's going to take that shot for you?
Kevin Durant. I think he has the most ways to get a good shot off. I always look at it as, is it a quality shot to get off? So he can post the smaller guy up. He can shoot a three. He's got the pull-up hezzy jumper, as he calls it. He can go to the lane and pump fake and do a little drop step. And I just think he has the most moves. Some people would say LeBron, but am I getting regular season LeBron or playoff LeBron?
Playoff LeBron.
Playoff LeBron would be my number one choice.
He'd be pretty good.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Regular season LeBron, I'm not as enthused about.
Here's Chapman. The Rockets making the shot. Outside Butler. Pass to Porzingis. He kicks it to Cousins. New York moving the ball around. And stolen by Chris. Now here's Paul. Covered by Chapman. Just over 2.5 minutes played here so far in the first quarter. Paul with the three. It's rebounded by New York. This, of course, their first opportunity to play Houston this season.
Yeah, and they took both games they played against this club last season.
Whenever Cousins get that close to the basket, this game over for the D. He is such a forceful presence, especially when he's dunking.
Last game for the Rockets, they pick up the win against Washington. Outside, Jones. To the middle. And it's Paul missing.
A hand right in his face on the layup. Excellent defense that time in the paint.
It's a pass to Butler. And Chris Paul picks up the foul. That is his first foul of the game. On defense, the Rockets. Pass to Chapman. Back to Porzingis. To the left wing. Here's Knox. And again, it's New York.
A nice start for them offensively. 3 or 4 to kick things off.
And first quarter, we're about 3.5 minutes in. Paul with the ball. Out guarded by Chapman. Jones finds Paul. To the middle. Here's Capella. And the dunk by Capella.
The vision of Paul is just extraordinary. An expert at finding passing lanes off the screen.
Bill, you watched the NBA evolve. Talk about some of the biggest changes over the last decade you've seen.
The three-point line and the threes or foul shots philosophy, I think, is the biggest thing. Just the pace of the game has really improved, and to a really pleasing way for fans. Like just what Steve Nash was doing last decade and those Suns teams, that everybody's playing that way now. I think the social media and the players basically getting rid of the wall between them and the fans, using social media, using Instagram, and we just feel like we know these guys better. And their ability to control their own message now versus where they were 10 years ago. It all started with the decision in LeBron James, and it's carried through this whole decade. And these guys now, they can get whatever message out they want. They can criticize the president. They can criticize their own team. They can ask for a trade. If they get called out by some writer or somebody who writes a hit piece, they can go back at the guy and sick all their fans on the writer.
And Chris throws it down.
And how about the communication between teammates on that alley-oop?
And that's what you need to pull that thing off. And a tremendous Unleash Chaos replay coming to you courtesy of Under Armour Hover Habit. Here's Chapman. He picked up 36 points in the last one against the Pelicans in New Orleans.
But even more impressively was his shot blocking. I mean, by the end, they were afraid to bring the ball anywhere near. Could you say intimidation?
Going back to our topic from a moment ago, Bill, you mentioned the interaction between players and social media. And now that's become a new facet. A sport we're seeing daily from players.
there's just way more accountability now. And I'm really impressed by how polished the guys are that come in the league now. Right? I think the LeBron generation, LeBron, Wade, some of the Chris Bosh, and those guys from the last generation that came up and became vets and really knew how, Paul Pierce, who knew how to handle their business. Now these new guys come in, they're 19, 20 years old, and they act like they're 30. I'm sure you see it at the games.
Shocking.
Whereas in the 90s, it was a free-for-all. You had these guys who, if you gave them a live mic, they were terrified. And now these guys are 19 years old giving, like, you know, long interviews to reporters. It's like, how are you doing this?
Tatum in particular is very
Tatum's
impressive.
already good at being a bad interview. Like, he doesn't say anything. He knows how to dodge any question. It's like, you're 19. How do you know how to do this?
Unbelievable.
And didn't do anything fancy there, but didn't need to.
Nope, his only concern right now is getting the points on the board. And I don't mean style points. Now here's Harden. This game we saw him score 14. And Chris Paul the bucket on the assist from Harden. And that's now 6 points for Chris Paul. And the Knicks decide to take their first time out here. Bill, we know in your writing that you love to incorporate pop culture references. How did that begin with you?
Well, it began because in college, I was dropping them in columns and people were responding. I think pop culture probably mattered more when I was in college in the 80s and 90s because, you know, we didn't have the internet back then. It was harder to connect with people you didn't know. Basically, you had sports and pop culture and politics. Those were the three ways. If I'm getting to know you, what are the three things we're going to talk about? I didn't want to talk about politics with anybody, so the other two things for me were sports and pop culture. I was also an only child in the 70s with only 5 or 6 TV channels, watching Brady Bunch, Partridge Family, Sanford and Son, Jefferson's, Good Times, all that stuff. And, you know, that stuff just soaks into your DNA, and that's it.
Here's Chapman. Knocks it loose and taken away by Paul. Ingram against Caldwell Pope. Shoots over Ingram. That shot by Caldwell Pope, no good. And Bill, in talking about the connection between pop culture, sports, and basketball during your career, through it all, you've always been a writer, though, haven't you?
Always been a writer. Only that was the only child of me. The thing is, though, I would have watched more basketball, but basketball wasn't on. You know, I try to explain this to people, how lucky they are to be able to watch.
They can't believe these finals were taped away.
Well, but think about the day-to-day, right? Like Magic Johnson.
I
feel like I saw his whole
right
career, but I
there.
really didn't.
Stop that
His
shit.
first couple of years in LA, I think CBS was only showing like 6 or 7 regular season games.
Sunday afternoons.
In the playoffs, they would bump them off.
Yep.
USA got the contract in maybe 1982, but for the most part, like, I love George Gervin. I probably saw him play in person twice, and I saw him on TV maybe 10 times, 12 times. And now I could watch Giannis every day. And if Giannis dunks, I could see it on Twitter 5 minutes later, or 5 seconds later. So, I think people are lucky. You guys should appreciate how lucky we are out there.
So it's the Rockets now. The Knicks making the shot. Here's Cotton. A look at his stats. He averages a bit over 8 points a game. And there's the foul. It'll go on the captain. That is his first foul of the game.
Seems so exaggerated, but that's not even how it reads. Oh, come on, man.
Bill, several of your books have been bestsellers. How did it feel to see your work so well received around the world?
I think I was really happy that the basketball book did well because I spent a long time writing it. It was 700 pages. And when it got mailed to me, it was so big, I thought people would just be terrified of it. And, you know, it
I
turns
think
out,
they embraced the
I think they did. They liked it. I designed it for people to be able to put on their toilet or bring on an airplane or whatever they wanted to do with it. But I was always amazed that there wasn't a basketball book that tried to kind of group all these other books and some of the opinions and all the misinformation. Like the fact that, honestly, the reason I wanted to write the book was just that people thought Wilt Chamberlain was better than Bill Russell. And yet every single thing written in the 60s was that Bill Russell was better. And all the players would say Bill
just
Russell was
fucking
better.
score,
And
man!
Bill Russell's team won. So it's like, how do we get to the point where people think Wilt Chamberlain was better? So it was that and some other stuff that made me want to write the book.
And the shot goes in.
Oh, man, a hot start for him. He's hit 5 of his first 7.
Here's Cotton. Still getting warmed up offensively. No scoring hit from him. Out to the wing. Pocket 6. The 15-footer. That shot by Caldwell Pope, no good.
Not a very consistent quarter for him in terms of shooting.
1:58 left here in the opening quarter. Here's Chapman, and again it's New York.
Taking things into his own hands. He's been a beast this quarter.
Hardaway passes to Chapman. Tanner, high post. Here's Chapman. New York moving the ball around. That's two.
Oh, Turner.
They're running. Shot, high post. Pass to Cotton. Lets it go with the 3. Drains the 3-pointer. And the Rockets lead by 6.
D with very little pressure on their perimeter shooters. 3 of the last 5 baskets they've allowed have been from beyond.
Chapman, that's good.
He's wrapped up his game in a big way this quarter. I don't think he likes it when they're trailing.
The Rockets shooting an impressive 60% early. 1:02 left in the first quarter. Here's Cotton, defended by Chapman. Geez, shot is off. Knicks trail by 4. Here's Chapman. He's got 14. And he jams it with authority.
Such a strong finisher for a floor general.
He was up high, and he came down hard. Exquisitely done.
Can you say poster? Those are some impressive ups. Way to go, Bert.
Here's Hartenstein, following the score by New York. There's 21 seconds left to play in the first. Here's Chapman. 16 points for him. Pulls it up. A big-time effort for Chris Paul, providing a lot of energy for the Houston Rockets. Setting up teammates and getting buckets. He is looking as determined as ever. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
18.
Dennis Canner, trends of the Knicks in 2017, said he was thrilled to go and play in New York.
Man, it's just like dream come true. I'm going to New York. Cause like for every player, man, you just want to come to New York. It's a big city, a lot of people, crazy fans.
And
I mean, of course, the most famous arena in the world, and I was definitely so happy.
That's a great place to play. Just in a whole new 5 on the floor. Bill, with last year's do-or-die season finale between Minnesota and Denver, final game of the regular season, momentum is gathering for a play-in tournament for the last 2 playoff spots. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I wrote about this in 07. I called it the Entertaining Assault Tournament, where basically the first 7 seeds were guaranteed, and the 16 teams that didn't make it out of the 2 conferences, they just went head-to-head, single elimination. And then you have the final 2 games in New York City, and you blow it out, and you have a fun thing with it. I think that Minnesota-Denver game was important, and maybe the solution is you have the 6 seeds guaranteed in each conference, and then you have 7, 8, 9, 10 in each conference, and you just have playing games. You have 7 versus 10. You have 8 versus 9. You do it over the course of a couple days. You use the TV revenue from that, because you could get good money from that, to maybe shorten the season.
Great idea.
Would be, for me, the number one thing I would change about the league. I think we should have a 70-game season. You can talk me into 76, but there's too many games. There's too many nights where the players... I just think basketball is really hard to play.
Paul and Harden are the incredible backcourt duo. Chris is out there with Jones, and it's Capella in at the center position. So that's who's on the floor for the Rockets. And we've got an update here, so let's check in with David Aldridge reporting from the sideline.
Hey guys, the captain in the last game against the Pelicans lit up the floor. He finished with 36 points.
Gotta get even.
Defensively, blocking shot after shot in an incredible effort. His numbers were off the charts. He was unguardable, and he knew it. He took advantage of it. Kevin, back to you.
David, appreciate the report. He was a one-man show in that game.
And, you know, it'll be interesting to see how much that took out of him. I mean, he'll have a hard time putting up anything even close to those numbers here tonight.
I mean, well, it should have taken all the energy out of him. It should have taken something out of him, Greg. I mean, he pushed the envelope in every way that night. He was unreal.
Here's Butler. James Harden picking up that last basket. Right side, Butler. Over Harden. And the Knicks getting another bucket right there.
Yeah, Jimmy, you get that.
We were talking about the length of the NBA season and various opinions on shortening it. I suppose, Bill, one argument is that you want regular season games to be more significant. And you want that regular season to mean something.
Mean a little bit more.
Yeah.
Make the pace, I don't know. When you get after the All-Star break, you can really feel these guys flying through. You know, especially the good teams, like a team like Golden State. All they did all year was whine and complain. It can't be that hard. You have 4 of the best 20 players. Like, settle down. I think you'll be fine. You're winning every game by 30 points. But I wish they would tighten the season.
How did they grab me like that? After Clint Capella's bucket. And the ball's tied up, so we'll have a jump ball. And so here is New York. Bill, a top advisor for the U.S. High School Athletics and Activities Division, recommended that schools adopt esports programs. What's your take on it?
I'm all in. It's probably my son's only chance to go to college, so I really hope it happens. No, listen, the world changes every decade, and you got to change with it. And the reality is, esports is one of the biggest things we have now. And if you're under 15, you're way more likely to play video games and be good at that than you are to do anything else. So why wouldn't we be able to benefit from that? The whole esports in general, just the audiences they're getting, and as a spectator event, that's been building. So why wouldn't that work for college?
First free throw is good. Thinking about how much sports video gaming has changed over the decades, Bill, can you imagine a 13, 14-year-old Bill Simmons with the 2K product? You would just be all over that, wouldn't you?
You have no idea, Kevin Harlan. I was there for every step of the video game revolution. I had a television and an Atari. I had Nintendo. I had Super Nintendo. I had all 3 of the first PlayStations.
You played them all the time.
I played entire Madden seasons on the treadmill when I was like in my early 30s. Try playing any video game on the treadmill. Try it, and try not falling off. It's impossible. I've been there every step of the way. I am pro esports. Basketball, I'm jealous of the people who can play 2K well, because it's just, that's not like an old guy, but so many buttons, so many things to remember. I'm always so impressed when people just remember all the combinations and stuff. I'm jealous.
Like your son does.
My son
plays
it.
I know.
But I could have done it. I know you could have. I want to take 1984 me out of a time machine and just give me this game. I would have unleashed.
Yeah, but 13-year-old Bill Simmons would like what 40-year-old Bill Simmons is.
13-year-old Bill Simmons would be amazed that 48-year-old Bill Simmons was getting paid to do anything. He'd really be excited about that. Just that he wasn't living at home. We would have been fired up.
Hartenstein, he's checked in for Capel. The pass to Hartenstein. And now here's Chris. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Houston needs to get a shot. Hartenstein can't get it to go.
A good job by him on the glass here tonight. +8 in that department.
Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. He finishes it off with a one-handed jam.
I mean, he's just been brilliant today, guys, and it was the same exact story last time out.
Harden outside. Paul outside. Sent back by Turner. They recover. And then
get that board, though. I should have got that board.
And Kevin, they started the game shooting it so well. I'm surprised they haven't continued. They've They've got to get back to their strength.
Always full of terrific insights. Bill Simmons, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. My insights, thank you as well.
And Greg, how much fun is it to have Bill with us? Such a prominent voice in sports journalism and never afraid to speak his mind.
You know, oftentimes when you gain popularity, you become a little more conservative, a little more reserved, but not Bill. And that's why he's maintained such a tremendous following. And how about that move? You'll see very few players able to pull off just sensational stuff.
Well, they're passing to Knox. Here's Chapman, defended by Jones. Passes it to Porzingis, and he'll shoot free throws here. Clearly fouled on that shot that time, the whistle blowing. And Houston gets called for the foul. Look at the Rockets. They shoot a ton of three-pointers, Chris, despite all those perimeter attempts. They get to the free throw line at a tremendous rate.
They have two moves, three-pointers and layups. And with Harden and CP3, both experts at creating contact, they're going to get to the line. Some people think they're tricking the officials, but I don't. They are hard to guard. Keep your hand out the cookie jar. Love it or hate it, it's effective.
That free throw good from Porzingis.
As we've gotten closer to halftime, their style has become more and more physical.
And the Rockets making a change here. Caldwell Pope's checked in. And a switcher also for New York. Ingram's checked in. And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time.
It's been a really good day for him at the line. Some other bigs have well-documented problems on their free throws. He's not one of them.
Trying to go for an alley-oop, but excellent defense and anticipation there to stop. Just 1 second between the shot clock and game clock.
Come on, bro. I get my last play because
here's Chapman. 22 points for him. Pass to Porzingis. Porzingis has got 7 points here in this quarter.
Nice job to get to the rack before the D could get any help in the post.
And so it's the New York Knicks ahead by 9 as the quarter comes to a close. They're playing a bruising game inside, and it's working for them. And now we'll send it over to David Aldridge, who is standing by courtside. David.
Hey, Jimmy.
Kevin, thanks. Here with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, you have come a long way in this league. When you look at your career now versus when you came in, how different is it?
Much different. I think on the floor, I'm supposed to do a lot more on both ends of the floor. And off the floor, I think it's still the same. People recognize my hair.
Well, it is a unique style. Jimmy, thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
All right, David, thank you. And stay with us, folks. We'll be back just after halftime to get the third quarter started.
Wow, shooting 79%. I got 6 dimes. I don't understand it. Like, what else do I need to do to train it? You could pick it on at the end of the match.
And we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast so far. We're halfway through the game. You know, the captain has been exceptional here, guys.
And through the first 2 periods, it seemed he got to the paint whenever he wanted to. Just a slasher's mentality.
Yeah, when you're trying to check a guy like that, you have to move your feet laterally, defensively. That didn't happen.
Setting the floor for the Knicks. Knox out there with Porzingis. Then there's Jimmy Butler. Then it's Turner. And it's Chapman with the one spot. And that one drops for him.
Well, we've seen that movie a few times, haven't we? An easy bucket in the paint.
Outside, Jones. Kicks it to Paul. Rejected by Chapman.
Look, it would be a huge boost for them if he could start knocking these down.
Here's Porzingis, and it's good off the back of the rim. And Porzingis has got 11 points.
That was the third straight high percentage look the defense has allowed. The defenders have got to start putting bodies on bodies.
And Paul gets it to go in.
So crafty inside. Paul's been successful for many years at challenging the heart of your defense.
Kicks to Porzingis. Lots of room. And he connects with the jumper.
You ready for the high flame?
Porzingis has got the lead up to 13 now for the Knicks.
That's their third straight make off an assist.
Paul kicks to Jones. And there's the foul. It'll go on the captain.
Cut me some slack.
That'll be his second foul of the game.
Some slack, right?
DeMarcus Cousins. He's checked in for Turner. Paul surveying the floor. And it's Capella missing.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. Fade away. It doesn't go for him. And Houston the other way. Big men around the NBA, which are the best triple threats. You can shoot, drive, and pass out of that screen.
I think of two. One being Anthony Davis. The fact he can get a shot, he's so quick, and he's a good post-up player as well and can face the basket. And then DeMarcus Cousins, I don't know if there's a better big man, a better center when it comes to him. He can take you out on the three-point line. He can dribble and get a three. He can take you out on the three-point line, set a flare screen, catch and shoot the three. He can get at the three-point line, drive you to the hole, get an and one, and then he can take you on the post and just bully and posterize you as well. So I don't think there's one that comes to mind with a better skill set than Boogie Cousins.
And that list is growing. And he knocks down the first one. Both free throws good from Chapman. Rockets trail by 13. Harden outside. Butler
Jimmy.
with the steal.
That's all you, Jimmy.
Oh, and the jam by Butler.
I just like the instincts Butler has.
You like Mike and Scotty out here, man.
It's staying active and coming up with deflections.
And it's Harden with the ball for the Rockets. That's tipped. And the rejection by Cousins. Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. And there's the pass to Cousins. Clock at 4, and it's Marquise Chris with the foul. That's foul number 2 for him. A different look for New York. Enes Kanter comes in for Porzingis. Hardaway is subbed in for Knox. Kanter finds Butler. And he uses the glass on the wing. Butler's got 4 points in the quarter.
The ball movement on this run has been fantastic and is a big part of why they've been able to get these good looks.
Timeout called the Rockets.
And Jimmy Butler, something of a quirky character, has a ritual whenever he's at a grocery store of paying the person's bill behind him. Doesn't care if it's 99 cents or 2,000.
Cotton's checked in for the Rockets. Rockets trail by 17. Now Tinsley. He puts up decent numbers on a nightly basis, averaging about 10 points a game. She passes to Capella. Beyond the arc. Another miss by Houston. And Butler never afraid to be a little bit different, listening to country music in the locker room, much to his teammates' chagrin.
And in the offseason, riding around in a van with a baby on board sticker, even though he's single with no kids. Remove the rearview mirror as a symbolic reminder to never look back. This guy's special.
Here's Chapman. They get it back. Kanter and Capella sends it back.
An elite shot blocker in this game. Capella's athleticism and length allows him to stifle.
Jones kicks to Cotton, and too much time in the lane. They get called for the 3-second violation.
To make a mistake there, have to stay focused.
You're so right. Trying to shrink the deficit, sometimes you push too hard to make something happen.
Ntilikina, he's checked in for the Knicks. Passes it to Kanter. New York moving the ball around. And then Cousins with the dunk.
Oh, and how about squeezing the orange as tight as he could there before the stuff?
Yeah, no way he's going to lose that thing on the way up. Rockets trail by 19. Here's Cotton trying to get something going.
Bullshit out of here,
from Chapman.
And physically, there's no
can't
doubt
be
in
around
the
here,
stronger
baby.
team. A plus 10 rebound advantage tells you all you need to know.
Here's Ntilikina. It's rebounded by Houston. Chabella's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. Here's Cotton. Drills the three-pointer. Cotton's got 6 points.
And that's one of his strengths, knocking down those long-range jump shots.
I like that. That shit was Cotton like shit.
Here's Chapman. 26 points for him. Here's a look at what's coming up for New York. On Friday, they'll be taking on Victor Oladipo and the Indiana Pacers. Then on Saturday, they'll take on Karl Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Alliteration aside.
That's good from Chapman. You know, see, we've spoken before about the skills that were hardest for you to develop. What parts of your game were the easiest to strengthen and fine-tune?
Wow, that's a great question, Ken. I have to think about that. The easiest. Well, I would say for me it was whatever I was doing well in college, and so that was on the post, on the right block, stealing James Worthy's spin move. It was easier to get a little bit quicker in that because now I got to see him use it and do it to me. It was easier to have my jump shot start to get in the place that I wanted it to as a rookie. But why? Because I have one of the greatest shooters of all time, Chris Mullin, there to sit and practice with. And so when you have a great shooter and a mentor like him, it's easier because they explain it to you. And then not only do they explain how to do it, they show you through their work ethic. And so for me, it was pretty easy in those areas because I had a great mentor, Chris Mullin.
Love that story. On the clock, Hardaway for 3.
What can I say, man? Box up. You know?
And so here is New York. Here's Chapman. 28 points for him. 6 to shoot. Cantor lays it up and in on the nice reverse. Cantor's got 5 points so far.
And they're forcing the ball inside, and it's working like a charm.
Timeout called the Rockets.
And the amount of points they've given up here in the paint, that's what they've got to talk about.
Oh, this is ugly. No question about it. And you wonder if these matchups aren't favoring them right now.
Now let's go to the 2K leaderboard to look at the teams that specialize in intimidation. Number 1, the Knicks.
And sometimes a team will get one guy who can block. Other times a guy finds ways to get others involved in blocking. It can be contagious. If he can do it, why not me? Then all of a sudden you look up and you're leading the league in block.
Here's Cotton. 9 points in the game so far.
Well, they've been better than good on the glass today, and there is a glaring discrepancy between these two teams in that area.
Here's Chapman. Inside. Here's Cantor. And there's the whistle. 3-second violation.
And a chance to check out the stats for the captain. He's been on a remarkable tear this past month. First in scoring, first in assists, and he's first in the league in steals per game. Just an incredibly aggressive and tenacious defender.
And his scoring abilities are just so far out of sight. Number 1 overall right now. No one's been able to slow him down or even come close.
That's 2 straight mistakes.
Since halftime. Coming on strong now.
The Rockets have been successful on 3 of their 4 free throw attempts up to this point.
And as a team, really just middle of the pack in terms of their percentage from the line at about 76.
The Knicks making a switch here. Ingram's checked in.
Pretty early to be over the limit. That foul situation is something we want to keep an eye on.
Come on, coach. Get Cantor out.
That free throw, no good. And he's good on the second. It's been a few years now since rules were put into place to curb the hack-a-shack strategy. See, Webb, you think the NBA made the right choice in discouraging that style, that tactic?
No, Kev, I'm torn on this one. I don't think so. I do think that the game would have gotten ugly, the pace would have gotten bad, but I think it would have been only a couple of years as players would have been embarrassed enough to improve their game. As I travel to different places, one thing is the difference between the United States and other places. Other places, they can shoot free throws. Other places, they just aren't at the park dunking or hanging on the rim. They're actually shooting shots and skill sets and dribbling and all. You know, I was at one time a terrible free throw shooter. The embarrassment of not making them, missing them late in the games, not being able to be there for your team the way you want to. Oh, trust me, it's no better motivation than that. Not giving me a handicap and a crutch saying, oh, don't do it. I don't like the fact that they tried to place a curve on the hack-a-shack strategy. My thing is get to the gym in the offseason and make some free throws.
And so here is Houston after the three-pointer from Chapman. From deep. And Cantor pulls it down.
We locked all windows and doors.
Cantor's got 4 rebounds in this game. Here's Chapman. Here's Cousins. He goes to the reverse layup and drops it in. Cousins has got 4 points now in the quarter.
Poor job defensively on the glass. I mean, Cousins is the first guy you have to get a body on. He has good anticipation and those long, long arms.
Here's Cotton. He's got 15. Inside. Here's Tinsley. Guarded by Hardaway. Here's Chi. No good with the triple. New York leading by 17. And Cousins throws it down.
Oh, that's straight TNT, baby. Explosive.
That was pretty, and he just has that effortless knack for getting inside. Houston's gone 3 of 7 from three-point range here in quarter number 3. Now a timeout called by Houston.
And starting to send guys to the line way more than they need to. Let's get some good position defense going here. That should be the emphasis and get away from the sloppy fouls.
James Harden is checked in for Cotton, and a switcher also for New York. Turner's checked in for Enes Kanter. Caldwell Pope against Ingram. Pass to Hartenstein. From deep, Harden hands it from downtown. Harden's got 8 points.
Boy, they've been terrific from beyond here in the second.
Here's Chapman. He's got 32. He kicks to Cousins. Lucky 7 drops in. He's perfect from the floor. 7 for 7.
It's no wonder why they're in front when you take into consideration that he's been perfect from the field so far.
From deep, Harden. And the rebound goes to the Knicks.
Yeah, and you could tell he thought that triple was going to fall.
Pass to Cousins. Pope loose. Caldwell Pope with it. He's averaging just around 8.5 points a game. And that one is good from Hartenstein.
Well, and Caldwell Pope really sees the court well. Everyone knows this guy can shoot, but his passing is also outstanding.
Chapman the pass to Cousins. Over in the corner, Turner. The pass to Chapman. Shot clock at 5. Over Tinsley. It's rebounded by Hartenstein. And so it's Harden bringing it up for the Houston Rockets. They trail by 16. It's Tinsley. That time on the assist by Harden.
Yeah,
Harden's got his 8th assist in the game.
I definitely gave him way too far.
Outside Turner. Chapman the pass to Turner. New York moving the ball around. Here's Chapman. Tinsley covering. Shot clock at 6. Cousins. And he's good on the 3-ball.
Beautiful.
Cousins has got 11 points here in just the second half.
Boy, has he put his foot on the pedal here this quarter. He's doing a terrific job in terms of leading their offense.
Here's Tinsley. He has 5. Again, the Rockets score.
Nice. And he's wearing Chuck Taylor.
And 101 left to play in the third.
Chuck Taylor, too.
Here's Chapman. Tinsley covering. Oh, and that one, no question, powered it down.
Just Mr. Reliable again here today, Kevin. I mean, they need his points, and he's producing.
Passes it to Hartenstein. Ingram against Caldwell Pope. Harden outside. Oh, good on the 3. New York leading by 17. Here's Chapman. He's got 34. In the corner, it's Ingram. And the Knicks hit again from deep.
3-point range from his days at Duke. Ingram shoots with range.
And for Houston, they're shooting in the second half so far about 45%. Harden against Hardaway. And here's Harden. From outside the arc. Oh, and he just knocked down the buzzer beater.
Spent money to hit the corner here.
You gotta be all hype, nigga.
Oh, what a lift that shot gives him. Great end to the corner.
And so it's the New York Knicks out in front by 17 points at the end of the quarter. Their strategy has been clear tonight. Work the ball inside, get shots in the paint, and now they are scoring with ease. And we've got more NBA action on 2K Sports coming your way after this break.
They about to take that L. Just so y'all give them that L.
And let's go back to a terrific pass that we're calling tonight our State Farm assist of the game.
And the definition of teamwork right there, guys. I mean, what great communication between them, and what a beautiful feed.
I mean, well, if you're the coaching staff, I mean, you're pumped up. This highlight will not only make it on the TV, it'll make it into the film session tomorrow.
And as we head into the fourth, we'll see if there's a comeback in the works or if it's more of the same from the first 3 quarters. Okay, now let's reset our lineups courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go for this fourth quarter. Taking a look at the Rockets, the engine of this team, Paul and Harden in the backcourt. Hartenstein is out there with Chris, and it's Caldwell Pope in at the 3 spot. Paul goes in.
No, we don't live with that shit.
And it goes out of bounds.
We don't live with that shit.
Defensively, great anticipation, making a play there on the ball.
And don't forget about the good hand-eye coordination. I mean, he almost corralled it in for the steal.
And the Rockets making a change here. Capella's checked in. Here's Chris. No good on the quick 3. New York leading by 17. Chapman's shot is off.
I should have went to the corner.
Caldwell Pope feeling it out of it. The feed the ball. Unloads from 9. Uses the glass to pop it in. Paul's got the first field goal of the fourth quarter here for the Rockets. About a minute played here in the fourth quarter.
Watch out, watch out. Watch face.
Porzingis inside. Working on Chris. Rocket 6. Here's Chapman, defended by Paul. Off the mark there with the 3-point shot.
He hasn't been able to find any kind of groove this quarter. I mean, it seems like he's been running on fumes since halftime.
And Caldwell Pope gets the basket.
And you can see the play calling. Another one from distance.
Well, that's because they made a concerted effort to get the shooters involved. Now they've built up the confidence.
Here's Porzingis, and he could not get that one to go. A lot of contact, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Yeah, the defender all over it.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
That free throw good from Porzingis. Houston making a switch. Jones is checked in. The next. pass to Chris. Houston moving it around. Butler against Harden. Tipped away. Stolen by Cantor. And a fast break now for the Knicks. Butler finds Porzingis. And the Knicks miss again.
It's been a really tough quarter for him. I mean, he cannot hit his shots to drop.
And that'll be 2 free throws coming up. Officials on the call with the foul.
And if James Harden has one signature move, it's got to be the step-back jumper. Something's worked on for years. Like the sky hook or Nowitzki's fadeaway, it's becoming one of those iconic, unstoppable shots.
DeMarcus Cousins is checked in for Enes Kanter. Here's Chapman. To Porzingis. Over Caldwell Pope. Drops it in from 11 feet. Porzingis has got 4 this quarter.
And every move he makes looks like the right one at this point.
He's extremely accurate here, coming down the stretch, trying to see if he can close this one out.
Capella dishes to Caldwell Pope. The pass to Chris. 6 to shoot. Takes a 3. Chapman with the rebound. Chapman's got 4 rebounds now tonight.
Oh, a tough quarter for him offensively. He hasn't been able to give his team a lift when they need it.
And Chris Paul picks up the foul. That will be foul number 5 on him.
That's number 5 on him. No room for error anymore. I bet they'll take him out right now and try to get him out together.
Jones checked in for Houston. Now here's Paul to the paint, intercepted.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now here's Porzingis. Paul with the steal. Here's Jones.
With his length, Porzingis can be very disruptive. It's not easy to get the shot off over that huge frame.
Come on, ref. Come on, ref. It was clear as day.
On defense, New York. They led the game at 1 point by 20. 13 feet away.
And the intensity of Cousins isn't limited to just offense. His defense has really improved thanks to how he contests shots.
And good that time. 19 points for Porzingis.
This score will be very different without his offense. He's been terrific.
Paul outside. Makes that one fall. It's his 8th bucket in 15 shot attempts.
He has the ball on the string, a master in changing gears and speed. I mean, all challenges for defense.
Fouled in the act of shooting. Gets the bucket anyway, so a 3-point play chance for him. So it'll be Jimmy Butler shooting. That one on Caldwell Pope. And Jimmy Butler's a very physical wing, as we know. Greg goes about 6'8", 240, and he can D-up almost any position.
And the strength to deal with forwards, the quickness to cover guards. Also, he uses that strength to attack the rim and get himself to the line.
What's up?
Knox needs to get involved.
Free throw, good Butler.
And just no question that Butler is a bona fide star. I mean, a tough, rugged defender who's also a juggernaut on offense.
Now, here's Capella. Jones kicks to Caldwell Pope. Chris pass to Capella. Shot clock at 6. On its way from Caldwell Pope for 2. It's rebounded by New York. Cousins has got 11 rebounds in the game. And another assist for him.
That makes 15 assists.
He's been one step ahead of the defense all game long. They've been looking out of sync offensively.
Yeah, their offense has ground to a standstill.
And he gets it to go as they call the foul. He's on his way to the line for one more.
He's one of the guys having a solid game for them. But as a whole, they've been
Took the
lacking.
wrong angle and wrong
I
side.
mean, you look at Chris Paul, he didn't play in the last 2 All-Star games, but he's a top 15 player in this league.
And Chris Paul, NBA first or second team just about every single season. And perennial first team all defense.
But get this, only 3 point guards in league history have averaged 18 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals for an entire season. Russell Westbrook, he did it once, Isaiah twice, and Chris Paul 5 times.
Now here's Porzingis, poked away. It's stolen by Capella. Caldwell Pope with it. Butler covering. Butler with the steal. To the paint. Chapman the pass to Knox. The shot, no good. And the Rockets take it the other way. To the middle. Capella finds Caldwell Pope. Nice D from Porzingis.
Even that close to the bucket, that's a very tough finish in that kind of traffic.
Finished off the break. Porzingis has got 12 points in just the second half.
Yeah, getting theirs before the defense can set up.
Now, that's just the aggressiveness of transition, making sure they come away with points.
Now, here's Capella. And the bucket is good. 3-point play chance here for him.
Such a strong player. Even when you hit Capella, he still possesses the muscle to get it done. And Clint Capella, born in Switzerland, his mother immigrating from the Congo. Growing up poor, Clint lived in a welfare orphanage from age 6 up to 13. I mean, those were tough times, but he said it helped prepare him for where he is now.
And now here's Chris. Caldwell Pope pushes the ball. Some solid defense from Chapman.
Yeah, good interior D there. Prevents the deuce.
Oh, wonderful anticipation. He reads the play perfectly. Then with the quick reaction time.
Here's Chapman. Passes it to Butler. Here's Knox. Here's Chapman, defended by Jones. 5 on the clock. Cousins, no one around him. Offensive rebound. And then Cousins with the dunk.
And there's no doubt about this one. Playing with a lot of confidence tonight. It's a statement victory for the Knicks.
This was a physical game.
Yeah, I mean, they were aware of the rotations defensively and were able to attack the rim.
And I think a great job in positioning themselves for the W here. It's win number 21 on the season.
And so they win their first game against this squad. It's a 2-game season series, and they'll be going for the sweep the next time they face off.
And you know, looking back at all the contributions tonight, it was a really phenomenal all-around game for the captain.
Their offense had a great flow to it because of how well he was moving the ball. His assists were way up there, and he kept everybody moving, working to get open.
Caldwell Pope kicks the ball. And it's Cousins with the foul. And that's it for him. He's fouled out. Not only that, we're in the bonus. He'll have to go to the line for 2. The Knicks making a switch here. Turner's checked in, and he makes the first. As you talk about IQ for the game, skill and competitive desire, few can rival Chris Paul.
Well, his buddies LeBron and Wade tease him about having a Napoleon complex. But whatever the reason, his motivation and perfection, it's impossible to mistake.
Here's Chapman. 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Here's Porzingis. Good D by Jones.
Does well to burrow his way into the post, but loses his touch on the finish.
Paul outside. Pass to Chris. Here's Capella. And there's 2 points. Working on the glass, paying off that time.
Oh, man, Capella absolutely destroys the opposition on the offensive glass, using that gigantic body of his to snag.
So it's New York picking up the win. A solid win on the road for them. This building was dead silent by the time, GA, this one wound down.
And that's what you want to do. Take the crowd out of it by crunch time. Don't give them any chance to lift their team up at the finish.
And that'll wrap it up, folks. For Chris Webber, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
Yeah, so my old coach used to tell me about these sandwiches, and I feel like I could go for one of those right now, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sore.
Hey, AI. Guys in the studio have a few questions for you.
Oh, cool.
Right this way.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Shaq. Another double-double for you tonight. Made it look easy, buddy. How are you able to control things on the offensive end with this level of consistency?
Well, a lot of what makes me look good is the system that we play in. You know, I don't really have to overthink possessions. I know my guys are going to be screening and cutting, and as long as we make the same reads, all I got to do is deliver the pass on time, and they take care of the rest. It's a really easy team to play on.
You keep playing like that, buddy, you're going to win many championships. Good luck to you, son.
That's the plan. Thanks, man. See ya.